very small amount considering the cost of campgrounds nowadays. So we could get by with tent sites because we needed no electricity because of our lithium battery power source, and that did just wonderful. We had no problems with that at all. Let's see, we literally stayed off of interstates, no toll roads. We enjoyed taking the state highways and found those to have the most beautiful scenic areas and less stress, less vehicles. It was great that way. One thing that we found not necessary to take was the TV and antenna. We very seldom would get good reception. One night we did have it on. We achieved some channels, but it wasn't good reception and it wasn't anything good on anyway. So I think next time we would just leave the TV home. We often would make coffee in our van, just heating up water on the lithium induction stove. But in Canada, we found that we loved the coffee at Tim Hortons and enjoyed stopping there for coffee. We tried to do some cooking in our van, but it's just a little more difficult with washing dishes and everything. But do not bring too much food in crossing the border. We didn't have too many problems going into Canada, but when coming back to the U.S., they even had to come into our van and look into our refrigerator, and they took the oranges and threw them in the garbage. So don't have too much fresh food with you. You can always stop at a grocery store, which we did several times. The clothing is a big issue because with limited storage space, we actually thought that the weather would be colder. As you go north into Canada, we expected colder temperatures, so we brought way too much warm clothing, and I just wish we hadn't brought that much. You know, a person can always stop and do laundry, but the weather is hard to predict, so that's a difficult one. One thing that's very useful that we found, at least for us because we're taking videos, is a window cleaner and the blue shop rags, which are a disposable paper type in a roll. Daniel would always make sure that the windows were clean, and sometimes you can't always wait until you're at a gas station to clean, and sometimes those sponges and window cleaner are so dirty you'd rather do it yourself, use your own products. My phone had we have home Wi-Fi, so when we're on the road, my phone has a limit of 10 gigabytes per month, and I found it's best to stay off of Facebook and Messenger and not playing videos, because my phone never slowed down, so I never used my gigabytes up, because I needed those gigabytes because we do a lot of Google searches for locations, even ticket prices to museums, addresses, sites. Yeah, we never ran out of gigabytes.
We also found out that our Garmin we've had for a long time now, there's a lot of features on here that we didn't know about. One of the features is the map feature, and to plug in the route and put a northwest thing in the maps that you could see on there were very useful. And we found at least one boondocking site right on the Bay of Fundy that was free and perfect for us.
Yeah.
So it's almost like having a Google map. So that was very useful. And then we just found out a couple of days ago that we also have a weather feature on this Garmin, which I never knew, and I've had this thing for 8 years. So it has updates, so maybe it never had the weather feature before, but that was very useful. Just plug in the route and see where it was going to go, and then check out what sites were on the route. Because none of this trip was really planned, just the direction was planned. The only thing was we wanted to go to Quebec City, Ottawa, of course, and then over to Maine to Acadia. The rest was just whatever was on the route.
Yeah, that's true. That's really our style of traveling anyway. We don't like to plan too much ahead. One thing we did find, because the temperatures during the days were much warmer than we expected, we have a 12-volt fan. Now it's
rechargeable.
I wish I could show you the brand, but it's just a short little, well, it's what, a foot high, but you can hang it, you can set it on something and direct it right at you, but even in the evening we could hang it above our heads in bed, and it just really, I think that was so useful. And you can charge it like a phone.
USB charger.
Yeah, it plugs into a USB charger, so you can use it plugged in or use it once it's charged. So that was. I'm glad we had that fan. So anyway, online we could even search for ticket prices if we were interested in a museum. Google search for sites to see.
Whale watching.
The internet is very, very useful. Drinking water, I would always suggest, for the two of us, we always had about 4 gallons of water in here at a time, and we would just buy the gallon jugs of spring water.
The 4 liters we got the Canada.
Yeah, you really don't want to dehydrate on a trip, and we always have our water up front here.
But in Canada, all the big jugs are all have a deposit.
Oh yeah, I don't think we ever returned a bottle, because by that time we were out of Canada, and I don't know. But is there anything else you can think of, Daniel, that is just something you would change next time on a trip like this, or?
Well, everything went as expected. Your maintenance is to having a good vehicle to drive.
The disappointing parts. I always wanted to go on a whale watch for years and years. We should have done it when we were in California, but we decided this trip we're taking one. I'm going to tell you, it was a disappointment. To see the minke whales, and all you see is this with a fin sticking out at a very far distance, and all the people on the tall ship were standing up, so you're trying to get a picture through a bunch of standing people, and I'm short, and all the tall people are up front, it seemed. Oh my goodness, I mean, the company we went with, they were exceptional. The showing us of the sea, things at the end of the video was fun, but the whale watch itself I thought was a disappointment. I don't think I'd spend that money, especially maybe on the East Coast. It's not as good. I definitely, the West Coast I think might be better for that. Was there anything else that was disappointing? We stayed overnight at Acadia, and we loved seeing the coastline and the thunder hole with the water splashing up in that rocky area. That was so nice. The colors in New Hampshire and Vermont were absolutely at their best. I don't know if people realize how good the colors are already.
We're lucky to finding a scenic route. Just happened to be in the right area, looked it up and found it.
Yeah.
Headed that way, and it was beautiful. It's unexpected.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the best part, is when you don't plan for anything and you find it, and then it's more than you could imagine. That's the way that it felt like. It's just wonderful.
And then at the end of our trip, we found out that we can take a shower at a truck stop for $12. And I said, well, we really didn't even need those campgrounds. The only reason we would stay at a campground usually was because
They had a shower.
we needed to take a shower, or that one campground we could wash clothes. But they have all that at truck stops, and we found a quick trip that was so clean and nice. It was just wonderful. So this video is how to travel on a budget, because I thought we did a great job of not spending a huge amount of money, but you know, it's see whatever you can, and going online is the best. When you go to the travel information centers now, a lot of the books are covering all these expensive inns to stay at and expensive restaurants to eat at, and
Couldn't find any paper maps.
it's hard to find paper maps nowadays. So yeah, we enjoyed this trip